Hey folks, today I wanted to sit down and express some thoughts on a topic that, on its face, seems quite simple, but is really quite complex when you get into its practical nature, and that is the quality of gratitude. For those of you who haven't seen my previous videos or writings on the subject, just over 2 weeks ago, the province of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, where I live, more specifically in and around my city of Durban, experienced severe flooding which did millions, if not trillions, of rand in damage to homes and public infrastructure. What this meant for me was that for just over 2 weeks, my suburb was without access to piped water, which means that we had to subsist entirely on bottled water. Fortunately for us, we had planned ahead and established quite a large store of bottled water in case something like this were ever to happen. Many people around us, however, have not been nearly as fortunate, and many have basically lost everything they own, depending on where their houses were situated at the time of the flood. We, and for the sake of clarity, when I say we, I'm referring to my cousin and myself, have been very lucky in that access to both our water and electrical power have been restored. Others don't have that privilege. My parents, for the sake of example, are currently without power because in their case, when the floods hit, their power was knocked out for several days. It was then briefly restored, and at the time of this recording has been off again for another several days. To give you some idea of the scale of the floods, we received what would usually amount to the majority of an entire year's rainfall in 2 or 3 days. As a direct result of this, thousands of homes have been destroyed, and the death toll from this event is in the hundreds. Given everything that's been happening, I could, as many of the local social commentators already have, go on at length about how the damage would have been much less severe had governmental authorities actually been paying attention to their jobs instead of their usual lazy and negligent attitudes. But that is not my goal in this recording. The reason I decided to talk about this today is that I have a desire, and I think it's important to acknowledge that I'm actually one of the lucky ones in the grand scheme of things. Our house during the flooding suffered almost no serious damage. Yes, we do have some minor repairs that need to be done, but we still have a roof over our heads, food to eat, and generally a safe place to live. That cannot be said of many people living in the exact same community as I do right now. The message I want to leave you with is this: in times of extreme hardship, you really have two main options. You can either allow your situation to make you bitter, angry, and resentful, in which case you'll make a difficult time in your life even harder to cope with, or you can take stock of the things for which you should be grateful and keep those in mind as a way of balancing out how you view life and the world in general. Look after yourselves, and for now, farewell.